Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lino Martinez. Today's topic is on dead naming, and dead naming. So before I talk about dead naming and what it means to me, I'm gonna do a little research here. I'm gonna Google. Actually, I Googled it before, so I have the screen up, and I'm gonna read to you what dead naming is. For those hearing this term for the first time, dead name as in a name that is dead, no longer living. So I'm going to be reading from this online from verywellmind.com. And it is, what is dead naming and why is it harmful? So here we go. To dead name someone is to call or refer to them by the name they no longer use, aka their dead name. The former name is usually their birth name from before their transition. While technically you can dead name any person who now uses a different name, the term is used in relation to trans, gender, non-conforming, and non-binary people, and it is considered a violent act. Okay, so let's continue here with what leads a person on the trans spectrum to change their name. People who are trans, gender non-conforming, or non-binary often do something called transitioning. This is the process of going from being who others labeled you to who you actually are. Transitioning can have many different steps and stages, and it is an individual journey. One common part of that journey is to change your name. A person who is on the trans spectrum may feel that their birth name, which may not represent their true gender, is no longer fit for them, if it ever was. The act of changing one's name to something that better represents them is usually seen as an empowering act, and it can bring a lot of joy to someone's life. A person's previous name may represent many past elements of life they no longer want to be associated with. These are varied, but can include emotional trauma from being treated as a different gender, violent perpetrated on the person, dysphoria, painful childhood memories, lack of autonomy and identity. All right, so yeah, that is dead naming. Yeah, so why bring it up? I'm bringing it up for many reasons. I'm bringing it up because I'm at a point in my life where it won't bother me if somebody were to dead name me, but I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay, and neither am I saying that it's okay to dead name anybody. Although there are some cis people that cisgendered, meaning people that feel like the proper gender that they were born with, assigned with at birth, um, they can change their name. And sometimes it's not associated with emotional trauma or the things that the trauma that trans people go through transitioning into their new name. But sometimes, dead naming in general is just not a good idea. It's better to keep that in mind if somebody transitions, and so, or just any type of transition. It doesn't have to be male to female or female to male. Just somebody has a new name. I mean, most likely you would think that that's the best bet you have, is to call them by their new name. If you don't know their name, ask them. I think they would be very happy to know that you did something nicely by asking them what just simple question as what their name is. So yes, so with me, as far as my dead name, it just, to me, I laugh, and it's like a sarcastic laugh that I have within myself because of everything that I went through and how much I struggled to look like I finally do, which is means a passing man. A passing, for people that don't know what that means that I no longer look like a female. Nobody misgenders me. I can use a public restroom, but I mean, I'm fully transitioned into a man in every which way that makes me feel the most comfortable and most authentic. And to dead name me on purpose would be cruel, especially if people know my name. However, on the flip side of that, I have to say that I'm actually very, very honored to have had the name that I had before. My name was Carolina, like South Carolina, like South Carolina, like North Carolina. But yeah, it was Carolina. It was actually pronounced Carolina, which sounds gorgeous, beautiful in Spanish. Not only was I a beautiful female, but I also had a beautiful name, Carolina Amelia. And the story goes that my mother named me Carolina because my grandmother, who is deceased, I didn't get the chance to meet her. Her name was Amelia. She wanted, if my mother were to have a daughter, she wanted my mother to name me my birth name, which was Carolina. Carolina. And with that said, when I was born, my mother named me Carolina Amelia. Amelia was my grandmother's name. So I had a beautiful name. And also, I need to say thank you to her in so many ways because I mean, I will always be a yin and yang. I will always be and feel proud to have been her for the first 34 years of my life. And because of that, I was able to, or she was able to, Carolina was able to complete a high school diploma and a bachelor's diploma, master's diploma, doctorate diploma. Like what? She was a badass biatch, if you know what I mean. She was a pretty badass chick. I think a lot of people would probably compare me to the girl with the dragon tattoo. That's similar to what I resembled back in the day, sometimes sporting an asymmetrical haircut and tattoos everywhere showing with my piercings. And I had the whole, butch mentality. And what is butch mentality nowadays anyway, right? But people can argue whatever, but I'm just letting you know that's how I was back in the day. And now I don't feel like I have to try so hard to be so masculine. I don't have to sit with my legs wide open. I don't have to be like, what's up, dudes? And act super duper masculine to prove that I am masculine because now it's naturally, it just comes natural for me and very comfortably. And, but aside from that, Carolina brought me, aside from my education, she brought me who I am today, which is Lino. And Lino is still going, and Lino is still is much stronger than Lino's ever been. And I still feel Carolina sometimes, and it's okay. It's gonna be okay because I love her, and I'm grateful that my parents brought me. Aside from that, just because I have found peace with my past, and because I have found peace within myself, through a lot of soul searching and identifying who my higher self is and identifying more with my higher self, which is my inner God, my inner strength, my inner light. My inner light is both genders. My inner light is also a gender. My inner light is just bright and it loves to shine. And it's all made of love. That's the most important thing. Everybody has that ebb and flow, that yin yang, the moon, the sun, and the moon. That duality is actually what makes human life very diverse and as beautiful as it is, and all the colors of the rainbow and all the other colors we can't see. Yes, so, but it's not okay to dead name other people. At this point, if you dead name somebody and you do not know their name, you're being a punk ass, and it's not nice to be a punk ass. So, with that said, everybody, now we know what a dead name is, and over and out. If you dead name me, we can joke about it, but don't be a punk. All right, a little less for your podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lino Martinez. Stay tuned. The next person is going to be Jennifer Ash, and Jennifer Ash has an incredible life story. She's written books. I know they've been published on Amazon. She has an awesome motto, which is "You can have a life after trauma." Definitely, Miss Jennifer Ash. I'm very, very happy to have you on my show. Thank you. And thank you so much for all the listeners and all the viewers that I've had and all the supporters, the musicians that played. And last episode was epic. Love you all so much. Thank you very much for being on my show. And I look forward to having you all back. Thank you. Talk to you soon.